Rob Hatter. You are now tuned in to the Chop Shop. I'm Retro. Let's get it. We in the Chop Shop. We live in the Chop Shop. We talking sports talk. We live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop. I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up. It's live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop. We live in the Chop Shop. We talking sports talk. We live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop. I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up. It's live in the Chop Shop. Yeah, it's lit in the Chop Shop. Turn your dials up in the drop top. They ain't based in debate, but they keep it fact straight. Going 30 for 30. Let's do a first take on Facebook Live from 12 to 2. Rob Hatter and Jim Hicks going back and forth like Carter Ray and Skip Bayless and Stephen Smith. From on the court, off the court, straight to the field. Not a man that steals, but I made it steal. To the octagon where I fight to kill. We go face to face, then you right your wheel. I don't play tennis, but I bring the racket. I'm on the floor, I attack the basket. Put you in the casket when I'm overlapping. Never showing mercy, cause I'm always snapping. Never showing mercy when I'm in the arena. Step into the ring, he hit me as I beat him. Step onto the court, I'm never backing down. Killing competition, I'm smacking down. Let me get back to the other stuff at the Chop Shop, cause they cutting up. It's Retro coming to you live to the Chop Shop. Now let's turn it up. Yeah, we in the Chop Shop, man. Shout out to Jim Hicks and Rob Hatter. You can catch the Chop Shop live from 12 to 2 on Facebook Live. Let's get it. We in the Chop Shop. We live in the Chop Shop. We talking sports talk. We live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop. I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up. It's live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop. We live in the Chop Shop. We talking sports talk. We live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop. I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up. It's live in the Chop Shop.
H-Town, what's up? You know what time it is. It's time for the best 120 minutes of your day. The Chop Shop, the nation's #1 urban sports talk show, and also your midday sports happy hour. Yours truly, Robert Hatter, alongside Jim Hicks, and Chris Walker is in the building. And his head is down, and if he pull his head up, we can see him in a minute. But welcome to the Chop Shop. It's Women Rock Wednesday. Fellas, we got a packed day today. I got a couple of things I want to speak to y'all about before we go. And guess what? Chris Walker, college basketball, where the unexpected becomes ordinary.
I'm listening.
What a story. Andrew Jones in his first game back for Texas after being diagnosed with leukemia, Chris Walker, scored 20 points. Life is beautiful, y'all. Life is beautiful. Jimmy, what you got, man? I'll let you crank it on up now. What you got today, boss?
I mean, speaking of Andrew Jones, coming back, University of Texas started off on the winning ways in the college ranks, and we're going to talk a lot of college basketball opening up today. Shout out to all the females out there, Women Rock Wednesday. Shout out to y'all, and it's going to be a heck of a ride. And it's that time of the year. Now, think about it. I was happy a week ago, right up until Game 7 of the World Series. I was happy, but you had Major League Baseball, you had NFL, you had NBA, and now I swap out Major League Baseball, that World Series, for some college basketball. And next week, actually technically this week, also started the high school basketball season for the private schools in the state of Texas. Now, last night, what we're going to share with you guys some intel, and we'll let Chris Walker chime in, and Haller's going to chime in, because his Memphis Tigers beat up on some helpless HBCU.
What number? Hey, what number?
That's HBCU. I didn't know that.
It was called a guarantee game, is what it's called.
I call it buy games.
Guaranteed
money games.
It means guaranteed a dub. That's what it's called.
That's what it's supposed to be. But guess what? Rightfully so, James Wiseman.
Go. You can go.
James Wiseman. He put on a clinic last night. What was it?
Hey, Memphis football 21. But let's move to basketball. The projected #1, James Wiseman, the 18-year-old from Nashville, 7'1", 240. He missed both preseason exhibition games with a sprained ankle. Penny Hardaway coaching him up. He did in AAU as well. He committed last October, and the fans were waiting to see him, and man, he gave it to him. Wow. Cleaning up the miss right there, throwing it down. Does he look 240 to you? Well, he's 7'1", so that's spreading it out, yeah. Alex Lomax threw it to them there. The ball got knocked away. Oh, he said running the floor is one of his strengths. Well, he was strong there. This is an 18-year-old kid right here. I should say 18-year-old man. Throwing it down with both hands. Coach Hardaway said it's a real luxury to have. Really. He said he had a similar luxury when he played as a pro, and he said it with a guy named Shaquille O'Neal. 5 first-half dunks, 20 points at the half. He ended up 11 of 14 from the field, 11 rebounds, 3 blocks. Oh, lefty there. Yeah, great versatility, great agility for a big man like that here. Again, moving the floor. I mean, you got a 7'1" guy dribbling up, finds Boogie Ellis.
Isn't that a little bit too much blue?
I mean, they just do stuff, man. Memphis.
Hey, how many was at the game last night? How many people?
18,119.
Wow,
that's capacity.
How many people do the Grizzlies have coming to their game?
I'm gonna leave that alone. I'm gonna leave
that alone.
I'll put it like this: they don't have to open the upstairs concourse for the Grizzlies game.
Are you serious?
No.
Wow. That's sad. Now, this is what we got for you. Chris, you're going to love this topic right here, this segment. We're going to go through, also last night, a lot of the kids, former high school stars from Greater Houston, had their college debuts. And if you take us back 1 year ago, of course, the National Letterman Fall Signing Day is always the second Wednesday in November, which next Wednesday, a lot of kids will be able to sign their letters of intent for the classes of 2020. Well, 1 year ago, many of these young men signed their letters of intent, and they're freshmen right now at their schools. And my thing, and I always remind people, if a coach told some of these players, you probably won't play but 3 minutes. You can sign this letter of intent, but you ain't gonna play but 3 minutes. In the season open.
Jimmy, one of them I flat out gave advice to. I said, listen, man, you got thrown a mulligan, right? I'm not going to say what team he's playing for, but he transferred from Michigan. What I'm saying is you got thrown a mulligan. Do not go to a certain school. I'm just telling you, I don't care what they're telling you. They're going to put the ball in his hands. You don't understand. There was a kid who's a 5-star. I'm not going to say what school he transferred to, University of Houston. All I'm saying is that you got to learn some of these coaches, like Nick Saban, they don't care about them stars. It's all about what you do when you get there. But go on, Jimmy. You know what kid I'm talking about.
We'll go through the first one. And what we have on this chart is they're listed by minutes per game because, as we stressed to you guys, that's the most important stat to a mother, to a daddy, to the kid, even most of the kids. Montavious Murphy leads the list with 33 minutes played last night, and he started for Kansas State. Now,
what was his line?
30. It's on the screen right now, Chris. You can see it. He had 33 minutes, 6 rebounds, only 2 points, right? But his defensive effort is what kept him on the court. Chris, as a college coach, if you see a kid play 33 minutes as a true freshman and start in his first opener and only has 2 points, what does that probably mean?
You ever heard of the nickname Elmer's? When they call a dude, hey man, you must be Elmer's. Remember Elmer's glue? He must be a glue dude. To play that many minutes and not score, they must really like him. Sometimes when you have 4 scorers out there, you need a Luke Walton or somebody who's not thinking about scoring. Kind of like a Tyson Chandler for the Rockets. He's not going to complain because he's not a scorer. Also, I don't want to throw this out there. I know we're going to get to, but because I'm a run section, we're going to get there in a minute. Dwight Howard, I looked at one part of the game. He hadn't taken a shot, but he was in the game, but he hadn't taken a shot. Glue dudes. You know, you need somebody that's going to do the other work and not worry about a shot. So maybe that's what it is. And I'm sure they want him to score because Montavious can score. But the question is, how many shots did he take? Not how many points did he make, how many shots did he take? That's what you got to look at.
And, of course, next up on this, Xavier Wheeler is at Georgia, and he came off the bench to produce 29 points, 29 minutes, 19 points, 3 assists in the win. Remember now, Anthony Edwards is option number 1 at Georgia.
He's one and done. He's one and done.
And they have a senior point guard that's starting alongside Anthony Edwards. But this senior point guard played 28 minutes. Xavier played 29 minutes. And this was a great opener. Chris, your thoughts? Or Halle, you remember you saw Xavier a lot last year. Yeah. Your thoughts on Xavier and some of the chatter. What did you think 1 year ago when he picked Georgia?
You know what, Jimmy? I watched that kid compete against the best people, compete against the best guys all the time. And I knew personally he would do well. I mean, he can handle the ball. He's strong, and he's so smart, so he can play anywhere. He go to the top 100. He played well everywhere he go. He led the Adidas circuit in assists. But he had my little nephew passing it to him, LJ Cryer. But let me tell you something. A shameless plug. But guess what? He just fit in, dude. He just can play basketball, man. And I knew he fit. You can drop him in on Mars. If they playing a ball game on there, Xavier Wheeler will adapt to that. I mean, that's just all I got to say about it. The young kid can play.
He definitely can play, and he reminds me, kind of fits the mold of a Nick Wise, as Hatter alluded to. You can drop him off at Mars, and people don't understand. There's certain kids that I've coached, and I know it, right? You can find a way to piece them in. Mm-hmm. I can politic with the best of them, but basketball IQ is something that's very hard to teach. Some people are just born with it. It's just like when Jimmy and I played Little League. I just get hit. Jimmy had 1,000 lessons, and it didn't matter. I just could see the ball better.
Oh, he was getting lessons?
Oh, my God. He got lessons. I had to give him a couple lessons, but it didn't matter. I just could see a curveball coming. He couldn't see it coming. That's why he struck out so much. But what I'm saying is, in basketball, you can drill these dudes to death. You can put 9,000 cones out there. You can watch film with them to death, Jimmy. Some dudes just ain't got it. Just like guys have scouting services. They can have the nicest little layouts. They can have a great tournament, but they can't get nobody to buy their scouting service. Some dudes just don't have the it factor. This kid, forget about his size. Now, listen, I'm still having that ball beater camp for all you 6'1" and under dudes. If you're 6'2" and over and you look like a player, don't come. I want all the ball beaters at 5'6" and under. He's a special one. Does that mean he's a league dude? Not really, but he's a special one. And guess what? He's doing his thing, and rightfully so. And the last thing I'll say is this, which is I'm a believer. Everybody may be on both sides of the fence. That's why you play them up younger. That dude ain't scared of nobody, Jimmy. He been playing at that level forever. People can talk about all these little accolades, all state, or is he all EYBL, this, that. The bottom line is he played 29 minutes for an SEC program and had 19 points. That's the only outcome I want. All that other stuff in high school, guess what? It don't matter no more.
Sure don't.
It don't matter no more. Period.
Yeah. And you know, another guy, you think about picking schools, going to where you can play. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times people get lost in that shuffle, and there's pressure coming from different angles for certain kids to you know what, you could do better than that. You know, that's the old saying, you know, don't worry about that school, you could do better than that. You better than that. You know, just hold tight. Well, one young man or a couple of young men who did not sit there and wait around and gamble and lose, and that's his P.J. Henry.
Yes. He
played with the Coos Elite program. P.J. Henry picked Hartford. And a lot of people were saying, you know, well, he could be, I mean, maybe so. PJ kind of had the game that was similar to Kyrie McDaniel, right? They went to Klein Forest. Now he's at SFA. Will make his debut tonight. But PJ Henry played 28 minutes for Hartford last night. 10 points, 4 assists, a very productive debut for this young man. Also, Jordan Adams from Silsbee went to state tournament 3 years, won 2 of them. He went to Austin Peay over there with Matt Figures, the head coach. And Jordan Adams, 27 minutes, 20 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists for Jordan Adams. Went to Silsbee High School. Guess what?
Well, was committed to Baylor, Jimmy.
Yeah, as after his freshman season, this young man committed to Baylor. And I understand, took a gamble. Him and his dad decommitted. And I remember talking to the dad, and I remember him telling me that he insinuated, I don't remember the exact words, but he insinuated he was waiting on a school such as Kentucky to come on.
Reality, something else, boy.
And you know.
Oh, you mean Tyrese Maxey, Kentucky?
Yeah. He really.
You mean dudes that go to the NBA and he got $1 billion in contracts right now in Kentucky?
Yes, I mean he really did. At the time, I talked to Dak. I wanted to know what's the reason. You know, he was like, "Well, we've done it. We jumped in there too fast. He's just a sophomore. Then we got others. I think we can go and get the other school, get a little better." I'm like, "Okay, what you call better?" Well, maybe like Kentucky, because at the time, you have to realize, De'Aaron Fox was just committing, going out of high school at the time. The Harrison twins had just left Kentucky when this kid was, and now he ended up Austin Peay. He had no Power 5 offers, but he took the Austin Peay and he's making do with it. This is what you got to do. You're going to it's like in life, you're going to get dealt a hand that, and like in a card game, you just got to play it. And I'm looking down the list. How about Jonathan Stretch Williams? He had a solid debut at UT. 17 minutes, 8 points, and a win. That's a lot of mouths to feed with the UT Longhorns this year. Chris, you know that. So how would you judge 17 minutes, 8 points?
Man, I'm taking that. As a freshman, I'm taking that. And he must be doing well. See, guys, people have to realize something about college basketball. And it's the difference between college and the NBA. In college, you have to have a discipline to understand that you have to earn it in practice. In the NBA, there's 82 games. In college, there's probably about 30 games. And if you keep playing, you're probably playing 40 games if you take it on into the March Madness. So guess what you do a lot? You practice. So guys that have terrible practice habits, right, usually get left behind. Montavious Murphy, although may not even be the most talented player, I guarantee you he is an unbelievable practice player. Same with Donovan Williams. Think about his sister, Stretch's mom, his grandfather. That dude's got something, being around John Lucas. You already know where I'm going. His DNA, trust me, that dude's got some habits. He's got great habits. And the habits will save you when your talent won't. Let me repeat that again. Your habits will save you when your talent won't. Because the guys that have talent like the Antonio Browns, who is that again, Hatter? Where is he? On the streets right now.
Yeah, unemployed.
Yeah. That's what will happen when you have bad habits. It doesn't matter how good you are, you'll be gone. Just like the dude sending that bad tweet out. There was a guy, think about what I'm about to tell you. There was a guy playing behind the guy that sent the tweet out. You understand what I'm saying, Hatter?
Mm-hmm.
And he just sat there and waited his time. That knucklehead sent that tweet, and what happened? Now he's on the field. Habits.
What's the next name, Jimmy?
And speaking of course, habits, you guys see right now, just tuned to the Chop Shop. We were going through some of the great, in that list right there, you get one last peek at it. We go down, go down to the bottom, and I focus on 3 names, and people may wonder, Pierce Helms at Sam Houston State, led Concordia Lutheran to the state championship a couple of years ago. They won, only lost like one game in his last 2 seasons, something like that. Well, he's redshirted. He's at Sam Houston State. Guess what? And I talked to the head coach and asked about the situation, and he defined it. He said, well, we have a senior-laden backcourt, the upperclassmen, and we're really heavy in guards. Pierce just wasn't ready to be productive. Why waste a year? We're going to be good. Chad Bowie is a senior. That's the son of former NBA player Anthony Bowie. Played for Orlando Magic, played for the Houston Rockets, and a couple other teams. Chad Bowie, yep, Elkins High School, went to state, went to JUCO route, now he's at Sam Houston State. And so you won't see Pierce Helms this year.
That's interesting.
What part is interesting about it?
Because he's a transfer from Pepperdine. I remember they were making they gave Marty Wilson a blues at Pepperdine about his ability. And some people will think that Pepperdine is a higher level than Sam Houston State because Gonzaga and St. Mary's is in that league. But it's really a one-bid league, but they get 2 teams in traditionally, those 2. But it's a one-bid league. It's the same level to me to a degree.
No, Chris, you're thinking about Knox Helms.
I'm thinking about you think about the young fella. Oh, I liked him.
It's Pierce. So he's
youngster.
Yeah,
and hold on. Where was he ranked in the RCS rankings though, Jimmy?
In the top 5.
Yeah, he was a dude.
Hold on. So think about what you're saying right now.
Yeah.
So all those parents can understand because you gotta educate them, or as we say, edumacate them back in the day. You have a dude in your top 5,
yeah,
who did not go to a Power 5, or in basketball I call it the Power 8. Power 5 is a football term. Power 8 is a basketball term. Let's make sure we always understand that. Just like when we say AAU and sneaker basketball, 2 completely different things, Hatter. You're right, period. He didn't go to a Power 8, and they're saying he's not good enough to get on the floor. That's reality. And you know what that means? That means they got some grown men there. That's what it means. They got some grown men.
But here's the thing. I'm going to toss this back to you because you deal with this. Do what? And I'm going there. You guys excuse me for this, but I'm going there because otherwise I don't want to self-implode with this question. Do most, in your experience as a 2-decade college coach, do some of the white kids accept the red shirting a little better than or equal to than some of the projected black prima donnas?
Well, I mean, if he's at Sam Houston State, he shouldn't be a prima donna. Let's start there. If we're keeping it 100, let's keep it 1,000. You're playing in that league. You shouldn't be a prima donna. All right, reality should have hit you when you signed that letter of intent. You're going to Sam Houston State, not the University of Houston. Next point is this. When it comes to redshirting, I know this is going to sound counterculture to what people think. In college basketball, if they only let you redshirt if they like you. Follow me when I tell you that. You got to understand, college basketball guys, they got to win right away. Right? They got to win right away. And if they redshirt you, they're stuck with you to a degree because you're not leaving there until you get a chance to play. And you won't leave there because you've already done what, Jimmy? Exhausted your transfer year. You dig where I'm coming from, Hatter? You get a sit-out year. When you redshirt, you lose that ability. So when you try to transfer again, you actually lose one of your competitive years. So if they redshirt you or you choose to redshirt, they must really like you. Because usually they'll be like, man, let that dude sit on the bench, and we're going to run that dude up out of here if he's no good. I know that sounds terrible, but that's how that works. So they must really like the kid if they're redshirting him because, again, once you redshirt, unless there's a hardship waiver you think you can get, you lose a year of competition when you try to transfer if it doesn't work out.
Yeah, and I think coming in to Sam Houston State, he knew during the summer that was a possibility of redshirting. And I think this kid, Pierce Helms, you got to realize different people, expectation, the way you're raised, it factors into it. And the way you're influenced factors into it. And he was one of those kids where you saw both parents were actively at his games, and it wasn't no one guy that was controlled. Now, he played for the Houston Defenders. He was the, I mean, you may have seen him in summer of 2018. He was the white kid on the floor for the Defenders. Didn't have a monster summer in his last year. He had a great high school. His high school seasons were better than his summer seasons. Put it like that. And for
Jimmy, won't you tell people that? That's something that you should educate people on. I had a phone call the other day asking me, well, does it matter? The high school, he was thinking about this. I said, listen to me. The summer, when it comes to recruiting, it matters where he plays in the summer. I'm not trying to disrespect high school, but the summer is more important because more people can watch him. You got to realize the high school season is going on concurrently with the college season. And unless he's really, really, really good, for them to take a one-off trip to come see you, you got to be at a tournament or something, the same way it functions in the summer. So the summer is very important when it comes to recruiting, which is probably why if he had a better high school season, the summer season, a lot of people didn't see it, Jimmy.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's a good point. And a lot of people didn't see it. And so we're talking about, we're recapping a lot of the college debuts from freshmen that were based in Greater Houston right now. Shortly in a second, we're going to take you over and take a lap around the state and give you more. But right now, we were talking about 3 players that came in note who were pretty much stars in their own right that did not play in the debuts, and for what reason, and in case you wanted to know. Another one was Anderson Kopp. He went to St. Thomas High School, and he did not play because of an injury. So he's expected to play this season at Lamar, and we will know. So when he recovers and make his debut, or they may decide to redshirt him because sometimes the injury may last an extended amount of time. Lastly, 2 more of note: Jordan Turner. Chris Walker, you had a chance to become close to Jordan Turner because your old Chris Walker Academy. Jordan Turner attended and was a student athlete at the Chris Walker Academy, and he went to Sunrise Christian, before signing with Baylor last season. He did not play yesterday. Baylor had a nice blowout win. We captured a lot of the details of that game during the first half of the Chop Shop on yesterday, but no Jordan Turner.
Yeah, you got to be careful when you look at that. Baylor is a big time program. They probably have a lot of upperclassmen. It's no shame, and we got to be careful when you talk about places like Baylor. Right here in Brooklyn, you got Taurean Green. Just got a big check. I saw him get 27 against the Rockets. A lot of people thought that he couldn't do it. He was a late signee. I remember he had nowhere to go to school. Got to Baylor, worked his way through the program.
Taurean Prince, Chris.
Taurean Prince. I'm sorry, I'm Taurean Green. Taurean Prince. And so what I'm saying is I wouldn't look too much into that. I would just, again, understand that this dude is playing for a team that has a chance to be a contender this year.
Yes.
And there's just not as many opportunities.
Right.
And I'm sure that his parents may be upset or whatever, and that could be other things going on that we don't know about that we can surely find out. The bottom line is that doesn't bother me when a kid doesn't play. I say, look, man, what you signed up for is hard, man.
That's right.
It's hard. But guess what? The reward may be great on the other side.
Yeah.
But you better learn how to compete. Like there could be 9 million things going on while they didn't play.
Chris Walker.
Right?
Chris
But
Walker.
I guarantee you, I'm going to say this, Hatter. Okay. I guarantee you, the dude that the kid Jordan, what his name, that plays at for Matt Figure over at
Jordan Adams,
would love to be sitting in the Big 12. It's harder. So? I'm just telling you, man, it's harder. Don't judge me by the first game.
Sitting on the bench in the Big 12?
No. I said be in the Big 12, not sitting on the bench.
Okay. Well, but you got to compare the two. It's reality.
It's reality for one game. It's not reality for a career. It's reality for a game. So the question is, think about it. He may not have the same obstacles Jordan Turner has, but it doesn't mean that the reward on the other side is going to be better. So again, think about it. Jordan Turner probably could play at Austin Peay. But guess what? He chose a different route. Again, he chose a different route. The other guy didn't get to choose that route. He had to go to that route.
I got you. That makes sense. But I wanted to even explain to you, Jonathan Motley, he redshirted. He in the league.
At Baylor.
At Baylor. He redshirted. And guess what, people, and all of the parents and the people out there, Russell Westbrook was on that bench as a freshman? I don't think y'all remember.
See, there you go. There you gonna get them ball beaters riled up.
No.
There you go.
No.
Don't get them ball beaters all fired. Don't get them fired up.
No, he was on the bench.
He was
behind some guys right now. Y'all think I forgot who it was? I got it in my notes. I'm not gonna look down, but I'm gonna bring it up very soon. But he was on the bench. So me personally, I know Jimmy, I know you take, because we talk about freshman debuts. Sometimes people take this stuff and either make bad decisions after these one games.
You know why, Hatter? You know why, Hatter?
Why?
Because, and I'm going to tell you, and Jimmy's going to nod his head the minute I say this. And I love the guys at Baylor. Tang's my guy. We about to do some stuff together. What did you tell him when you recruited him? Because whatever you tell them,
bingo,
they're going to hang on every single word. Let me tell you why, Hatter. It doesn't matter if he don't practice hard. It doesn't matter if he don't go to class and do his work. All they're hanging their hat on is, but you told me he was going to play 15, 30 minutes. You told me he was going to play. That's what you told me. He says he's practicing hard. And I don't even want to talk about Baylor and throw that kid in there. I'm talking about recruiting, period. Whatever you tell them is exactly what they're going to. You can't hold their feet to the fire on anything. Because the way you cover your back is you say, listen, if he does what he's supposed to do, if he practices hard every day, if he goes to class, if he does this, but guess what they don't ever factor in? Maybe he's just not as good as the other guys. Because how can you tell that before he gets there, right, Jimmy? Yeah. Maybe the other guys are just better now.
One of the elements that you have to factor into that is as well, Chris, is that the head coach on most programs is the guy who calls in and makes the decisions on the substitutions. A lot of the associate head coach may remind that head coach that it's time for another kid to come in or situations that are about to come up. And then there's other programs where I've seen the coach or the associate head coach has authority to make a sub into the game or out of the game. So most recruits, the head coach wasn't the point guard on their recruitment. That's the thing you have to think about. So that means that head coach was influenced by the assistant, one of the other three assistants, to take this guy. And in many cases, two of the assistants might be kind of jousting over which guy that is the best suited for that their boss should offer the scholarship to or sign. And Chris, have you been in that situation? How does that work? If as a college coach, you like this one kid, but your coworker like a kid in the same position, y'all two point guards, and he's trying to sell that kid, you're trying to sell the kid that you favor. How do y'all end up breaking the tie?
The boss breaks the tie. That's who breaks the tie. The boss breaks the tie because, at the end of the day, he sees both guys. And sometimes the tie is broken for you. The kid chooses another school. A kid may, and it also depends on if you can get the kid. It doesn't matter how much the coaches are pushing them. If the kid is ready to go and one of them's not ready to go, as far as like signing a letter of intent or committing. So sometimes that decision is made for you. But if you're in a room where guys have opposite opinions and there's a situation, and it was a situation where the coach doesn't know what to do, then it comes down to need. Well, this guy's a shooter. This guy's just a defender and just get assists. What do we need most? Well, I tell coaches this in recruiting: don't try to imagine what kids can do when they get there. What you see in high school is probably 90% of what they are. Doesn't mean they can't get better when they get there, right? But if a kid cannot shoot in high school, you have to think that he may not be able to shoot in college. You can't just say, well, if I work with him, I'm going to change his life and make him a better shooter. You can't think of it that way, because when it doesn't work out, the first thing you're going to say to yourself is, he couldn't shoot in high school. So why would you think he can shoot now? He couldn't dribble with his left hand in high school. I'm not saying he can't get better, but you got to recruit on how to control what, the controllables. This is what I know he is. Doesn't mean he can't get better in our program.
Right.
But this is what I know that he is. And we're talking about those high-level dudes. Even the high-level dudes are affected by that. We were talking about the Kansas situation.
Yes.
We're talking about the state.
Yes.
There is no way that Von Thomas, and I know he's probably watching this, when they chose Kansas, and I remember talking to Bunzel, that they thought that kid was going to play 2 minutes last night. Now, he could be hurt, right? It could be disciplined. I don't know what it is. All I know is Jimmy?
What kid's
He played
name?
2 minutes.
What kid you talking about?
Thomas. Oh, no. Jalen Wilson.
Jalen, he's at Kansas.
At Kansas, played 2 minutes.
The kid that decommitted from Michigan, right?
2 minutes.
And see, and that's what we're getting into. See, here's the thing,
But back to, I just want to help you, Jimmy. I want you to go right after that. Darren Collison had Russell Westbrook on the bench, y'all, his whole freshman season. So table that there when you're talking about this kind of stuff. And I know everybody ain't gonna go to pros, but if you go to Kansas, if you ain't trying to be no pro, you done went to the wrong school. Now, that's in my opinion.
Yeah. Now, one of the things that I wanted to mention, of course, we tuned in is great convo on the Chop Shop today. We're talking about college debuts and what if a player don't play at all in the first game? What if a player doesn't play the minutes that you thought he was? And that means he doesn't meet expectations. You can't tell me that everybody that's about to sign next Wednesday has a certain expiratory just threshold in their mind. Remember, we had Teddy Wheeler on the Chop Shop, right, a couple of months ago. And Teddy Wheeler came into the studios and we asked him, I asked him, I say, what's your expectations for Xavier at Georgia? Okay, so they've been on campus a couple of months for summer school. What are you expecting him? And he said, I'm expecting him to play a lot, possibly even start. I said, you mean to tell me that you thinking that he can go to Georgia and he's going to start? He said, yeah. He said, and he basically gave understand. So that means no matter what his reason was, his expectations may not have been 29 minutes, but it was to play at least half the game. And that's what he's doing. So now when you have that, it's up to you to give it up. Now, meanwhile, Chris, what we're going to do, speaking of DFW guys, I'll give you one other guy from Houston that played sparingly, that went and took the reclassification route and went to Louisville. Quinn Slazinski.
Is he a walk-on, by the way, or is he on scholarship?
They got him as a. I know when they committed, I checked with the coaches at the time, and the coaches that I checked with is not on the staff anymore. If I'm not mistaken, they told me that he was going to be. They got him for 2 classes later, and he was going to be possibly a walk-on. I'm not sure if the new head coach gave him a scholarship or not. I have not confirmed that. And trust me, between us three, it ain't hard to find out. That's the whole thing. So if you guys are watching right now, you know if Quinn Slazinski is on actual scholarship or not. I can find out. One way you can find out is like this. This is the old-fashioned way. If you go and search the team's website, anytime a player signs, they have to, if he's on scholarship,
it's a news release.
The
news release.
The SID must submit that on a press release if he's on scholarship. If he's not, they don't have to. That's why you never see any pressers about walk-ons. You see, you never notice that they're part of the team. Why they don't announce when the walk-on is made the team. Now, another kid, now what we're going to do now, speaking of Louisville, one of the young men from Louisville had an impressive debut last night. And once again, we're going around the state now. We're talking about kids from DFW who had their college debut. We'll give you a starting 5. How about that? Rather than going down the line of DFW kids that played Division I, there were several of them. Sorry to you guys. And you can do your part and help us, keep us informed so that we can share this with the masses. If you live in DFW or other cities, then guess what? You can send us an email, chopshophtx@gmail.com, chopshophtx@gmail.com. And if you see Samuel Williamson is on the screen right now, 26 minutes, 13 points, 5 rebounds in his debut at Louisville. And that is hell.
Top 5 team in the country. Top five team in the country, too.
Top 5 team in the country.
Top 5 team
That
in the
is
country.
a hell of a debut. How about this? This entire starting 5 out of DFW.
Them dudes went to work.
DFW today. That's look at these numbers. Look at the minutes. I got them in order. They're in order by the amount of minutes played.
They've had more talent in Houston too, so they got better players.
But it doesn't. That's not what we're talking about, Chris.
What we're talking about?
We're talking about you going there and playing the amount of minutes that you're playing.
No matter how much talent you got.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. Think about it. So all these guys are at Power 5 schools. All 5 of these. Now the guys that we mentioned from the greater Houston were at Power 5 schools. Only maybe 3. You follow me? That was Montavious Murphy at Kansas State, Xavier Wheeler at Georgia, and I think the other one was Jordan. Well, Jordan Turner didn't play, so he was the only one. Those are only 2. Well, I'm sorry, Stretch Williams. That's the third one. I knew it was 3. But in this case, Davion Harmon, 33 minutes.
No assists.
Points.
0 assists. I thought he was a PG.
Well, he wasn't
a
yesterday.
bucket getter.
We got to talk to Troy Bieniemy because I thought he was a point getter.
He was a point getter last night.
A bucket getter, a walking bucket.
Well, guess what? He's on the side in the backcourt alongside of former Chris Walker of
Texas Boys Athletic Club. Don't say that Houston Hoop stuff. Texas Boys Athletic Club.
And guess what? Both of y'all had the opportunity to coach the young man, Jamal Bieniemy.
Who was both of y'all?
That's my man. Hey, public Bieniemy number 1.
Tell us when did you coach him, Hannah?
Huh?
When did you coach Bieniemy?
Oh, at the debut game. Excuse me. At the Hurricane Relief game. During the Hurricane Relief game, he was on my team, and I coached him to a victory, unlike Chris Walker.
Oh, my goodness. Stop it.
But hey, I'll tell Chris who you benched in that game.
Who I benched? Chris, I forgot. Man, I'm not talking about them kids like that. I didn't bench. Somebody wasn't aggressive enough, and I had to set him. I forgot, Jim. I forgot.
Who did he bench, Jimmy?
It slipped my mind. I promise you. It slipped my mind.
He benched a couple of kids. Wouldn't get the kid in the game and down the stretch.
No, I was trying to win. You know what? I depended on Kendrick Davis. I depended on him. He told me, Coach, you got to get this guy back in the game. You got to get this. Hey, all I did was what Kendrick Davis told me to do, and we won the game. But I forgot
that's why B say Hattie used to coach. I said no, B, he terrible.
No,
that's why he do what the coach tell him. He do what the players say do.
B, I had short stints in summer basketball. I could not do that stuff. I was nervous than a hook in church every time I sat on that bench because it seemed like everybody was looking at me, B, I got a text, B, from a referee, a woman ref. I wasn't talking to her. I was talking to one of the parents of the other team who always mess with me. And B, all I said was, girl, you need to get on the treadmill. And the woman referee thought I was talking to her, and she gave me a text.
Did she need to get on the treadmill?
No, she didn't need to get on the treadmill. She was all right. It's that other man, that mama on the other side who kept messing with me. So I had a short stint. It was short. But, Jimmy, I did coach the Hurricane Relief game. Hurricane Harvey, was it? Where we did the thing for charity. Some of the kids from Dallas came down, and they played the Houston team. And the Houston team beat the Dallas team. And, we had a great time. Raised some money. And Jimmy licked the envelope. What you said, Jimmy? Jimmy went to the door, grabbed the money, licked that envelope, and gave it to the people right there on the spot. So, yes, Chris being a hater, I had Jamal public the enemy number one on my team. Now,
Hey, we talking about freshman debuts. I mean,
Uh-huh.
I'll let you. I mean, I have an answer to it, but it says Angel says question. What is a realistic expectation for minutes for these freshmen? Obviously, a walk-on has different expectations from a
Mhm.
five-star recruit. Obviously, a walk-on never plays, Angel. How different are the levels of expectations? Just curious when I'm hearing you guys talk about minutes. Jimmy, what do you think? You've been doing this a long time. What is the average that a freshman plays? That's not a five-star. Obviously, we expect the five-star to play.
okay.
A dude that's not a five-star. I mean, what's the average minutes?
The average as a freshman, I guess the benchmark you would think would be double digits. So as a freshman,
Mhm.
if a player can produce that's 5 minutes per half. That's basically one TV timeout segment per half. That's 8 minutes. And if he play good enough, he'll stay in an extra 1 minute for each one. So 10 minutes plus, it should be the minimum for a freshman at the Division I level going in. Now, understand something. That's not going to work for everybody. It's not. It's not going to be the same. But then as you pick in your schools, because if you're expecting to play, that should be your aim. And if you think of it like this, 10 minutes as a freshman, right? That means as a sophomore, you should be trying to strive for 18. As a junior, 25.
Man, what program you talking about? These kids think they're going to the league after 1 year.
You said not 5 stars,
You
man.
said not Power 5.
I understand that, but these dudes, man, you saying 10 minutes, they're gonna be like, nah, Mr. Hicks, if I go a level down, I should be playing 30 minutes. I'm talking about the expectation.
You know
Now,
what?
if I'm asking your expectation, you're right. Obviously, their expectation, is different.
Why do they think like that, Chris? You be around them a lot. I was in a gym the other day and watched some practice, and and I saw the kid. And you know what? You know how I do, Jimmy. I'm gonna go say, dude, what you plan on doing when you? Man, I'm going to the league.
What league? Justice League? Which superhero he gonna be? Sorry, man.
But
What that costume look like?
All of them feel that they can make it, Chris. I mean, it's and I don't tell them. I mean, hey, do your thing, young fella.
Man, please.
But Chris, okay, here's the thing that gets tricky. Because I've seen there's a lot of times the kids will play as freshmen, and then you'll see after a period of time, once you get the conference play, those minutes start to decrease. Then as a sophomore, because they got other kids that are coming in that are about to sign in November of your freshman year. Those kids that you're about to host on a campus visit and take out and go and party or do whatever you do. So those kids are coming in. As a sophomore, this is why I tell people the sophomore year is so detrimental because it dictates whether they're going to recruit dead over the top of you or not. They may not recruit on the top of you as a freshman. It may not, unless they see that they need to, and in the spring, they're going to go get that position. And so explain to us, Chris, how does that work? When coaches make those type of decisions.
Man, listen, man, they trying to win every year. People can think the days are gone. The days are gone of we got to, make sure we got this many juniors and this many sophomores. You got to realize, man, kids are one and done. If Duke and Kentucky have one and done players, you have to understand the evolution of summer basketball. All these kids play against each other. We got summer kids out there with 1 million followers. It's a different world right now. They all believe that it's attainable, even though we're telling them that it's not. There's a bunch of rappers out there smoking a whole bunch of weed, hanging out all night long, trying to be Andre 3000 and Jay-Z, and got no chance. But you can't tell when them little Thundercats that. If somebody put them on one mixtape, if somebody let them rap at one little prom and give them one little check, you can't talk them out of that. You can't talk them out of it. The same thing with these kids. They get one dude repping them. They get one little post. Somebody put them on a draft board, and you don't hear about them ever. But I'm going to tell you what's reality. I was watching Facebook yesterday. I was just going through my little Facebook feed. There was a kid I recruited at Villanova. He was the New York State Player of the Year. Transferred after 1 year. Was not good enough. New York State Player of the Year, right? And he was New York City Player of the Year. Transferred after 1 year, had a tryout with the G League team, the New York G League team, the Long Island Nets, right? The Brooklyn G League team. Yeah. And he was like, man, I'm just happy I made the team. Think about what I just said. The New York City Player of the Year. You thought when he went to Villanova, he probably thought he was going to be the next Randy Foye or Kyle Lowry or Scotty Reynolds. Did not play, ended up leaving. I'm not going to say where he went. And this dude said, man, I'm just happy I made the team. What I want to encourage everybody to do, I want y'all to pull up all these G League rosters and then look at the accolades and look who's on them and look where they went to school. That'll that'll help you form your opinion about what's possible and what y'all just sitting there thinking that you can do something. I shouldn't say it's impossible, but what I'm saying is, how about think about some alternative routes to success? Because some of those guys sitting on that bench in the G League were all league players, right? You don't have, trust me, the G League. I know for a fact somebody in the G League's got to go down in a couple of days that was on a roster. And I'm like, man, I feel bad for you, but he just can't get no burn. So he's going down to the G League. Dudes, think about it. The G League, man, they got some dudes, have it? How to explain to people what a practice squad on an NFL team looks like. Like when you say practice squad.
It's not but a few of them, Chris.
I understand that.
Okay.
The dudes that on the practice squad probably played at Alabama. Like people don't realize some dudes can't make the team.
Yes.
Would you tell these people?
Yes. I mean, Chris, it's a unique situation, man. It's just, but I will never tell a player not to fulfill your dream. I can't tell. All I can do is the ones in my sphere of influence. I can just tell them how hard it is. Some of the best, I'm sitting there thinking about basketball, and I was watching Isaiah Thomas, a Hall of Famer, great. He was sitting at the table doing an interview the other night, and I looked at his hands. His last two fingers, mine are perfectly nice. They're bent over, Jimmy, like people don't know you got to give up something, man, to be in that league and be great. Sam Cassell, go watch him at the game. He wasn't a high flyer or nothing. Watch him. He had to sit in a high chair. He had to have one of those back support things because of his back. He had to give up. Todd Holmes just said they were talking about Memphis last night on TV, and they setting Penny up for failure. They got to talk about him. He got the #1 pick. And Todd, you can't set him up for failure. He's already won. Todd, it ain't been but 4,000 basketball players, NBA basketball, in the history of mankind. 4,500. Penny was one of them. He win. It ain't but 350 Division I coaches in America. Penny is one of them. He win. So how in the hell somebody's setting him up for failure? It's people like you that say stuff like this and tack on just because you have to talk about a guy if he got the #1 player in the country. That's news, Todd. He's not setting them up for failure. These guys have already won in the one in life. These guys have already won. And Chris, you were one. And I told Damon Stoudemire, I never forget. I told him, dude, you didn't hit the lottery twice. What do you mean? Dude, you were an NBA player. And now you're a head coach in college. Dude, you hit the lottery twice. Me and Jimmy can't say we did neither one of those things. We blessed enough to have Chris Walker on this thing. And guess what? As great as he is, he had a short stint as an interim head coach. That's how hard it is, y'all, to make it at these levels. So when we talk and the kids tell me, man, every kid I meet, I'm going to the league.
Oh my God, that's so crazy.
Man.
I got a better one for you, Harry. Man, if I don't make it to the league, I'm just gonna go overseas, man. What? You gonna do what?
It's hard over there.
Yeah.
You gonna do what?
Isaiah Briscoe, right? Like, Isaiah Briscoe, Jimmy. Isaiah Briscoe. What he, McDonald All-American, went to Kentucky.
Yup.
Man, over there. Have y'all seen the crowds that they play for? Listen, y'all. Now, always remember this, and I'm finna give y'all a secret. When these guys tell me, man, yeah, I play on the season, I make this much money. Let me tell you something. They can tell you anything because they don't disclose how much money they give you, Jimmy. It's not a website that you can go on and say, this how much nobody is making over there, Jimmy Hicks, like they do over here in America. So I seen some guys, and they posting their pictures over playing. Jimmy, the high school gym, West Side got more fans than these people got. These people are playing in absolute obscurity. What Chris Walker always said, he better learn some Rosetta Stone.
But you better get him a Rosetta Stone real quick.
If that's your dream, if you want to play basketball, do it. If you want to go in the D-League and ride on them buses, do it. I had this same talk with my son. Dude, you not cut out.
You're not built like that.
You're not built like that. You ain't cut out like that, son. You don't have the habits of a pro. And mom and dads, if they don't have the habits of a pro, they ain't, listen. When I never told y'all this story again. When I said, hey man, we got to go work out, told my son, man, you got to go work out. He said, man, I got to study because I got a big test. In other words, forget the workout. That was constantly. He didn't do that. He did that. So guess what I knew as a dad? His habits don't line up with Penny's habits. His habits don't line up with Charles Woodson habits. Because guess what? Those guys had to get out of a situation.
I was about to say, because you made it comfortable for him, Hatter.
My son was never in.
Yeah.
You know, and so that's that. When people get to talk about this pro stuff, that's just, Jimmy, I'm glad you're bringing this stuff up.
Man, they don't know, man. They have no clue, man.
But I tell them freshmen, don't give up freshmen.
No doubt.
Russell Westbrook averaged 3 points a game as a freshman, playing behind Darren Collison. Yeah.
Another pro.
Another pro. Go look up Darren Collison. Some of y'all don't even know who Darren Collison is.
He got his little brother in the pros.
Yes.
People don't know, man. They don't know how hard it is at that level. This AAU stuff has got these guys crazy. They play against these guys. They think it's so easy. They watch Instagram. They watch television. You got to understand, how many of your parents are running around super rich? They had dreams too. Ask them to tell you what they wanted to do when they were young. It's not easy. But what we do as adults, we coddle them. We want stuff from them. We use kids to get things that we want, and we don't tell them the truth. And then all of a sudden, when it don't happen the way they want, guess what we do, Jimmy? Man, you just didn't work hard enough. Man, you weren't good enough. We didn't tell them, here are the odds. But listen, 2 things.
Okay.
I can't believe y'all haven't talked about this. Mm-hmm. My man Sylvester Turner, mayor again in the city of Houston.
That's runoff, baby.
Runoff. I thought he got it.
He didn't get the 50%. He had 49. He was stuck at 49. Yeah.
Come on, no, he didn't.
Yeah.
He's gonna win. He's gonna win anyway. So he's gonna win anyway. Other thing is, what about my man got that triple double last night? LeBron James, 3 in a row, had a triple. Listen, y'all talking about load management. What's his nickname? Who is load management? Management.
I'm not gonna let you go there. Hey, before you go there,
load management. Leonard is the best player in the world. Y'all need to stop that blasphemous talk. And you are driving me crazy talking about Kawhi Leonard. The best player in the world is LeBron James, period, at 35 years old.
Chris,
go ahead.
I'm good. But before you go.
All right, Neil, I'm buying. All right, good. It's Corona Limelight. This is a great story here. Yeah, University of Texas guard Andrew Jones, absent from the team for most of the last 2 seasons while they received treatment for leukemia. Rejoined Texas on Tuesday, scored a career best 20 points in 29 minutes as the Longhorns beat Northern Colorado 69-45. He was 8 of 13 from the field, including 4 or 5 from 3-point range.
Do y'all see what's going? This Andrew Jones we can't go another second. I refuse to talk about pro basketball without talking about the feat that young man put together last night. I had to go there because I know you want to get to talking about LeBron. Andrew, he came back after 2 years from leukemia, and doing that, unbelievable to me, Chris. You talking about Superman? Or you talking about whatever you call it? That's Superman right there. You can talk about, and Jimmy, I got a new name for Chris Walker. He's not a brunsexual. We can keep that name, but he is the president of the LeBron Hive. The Beehive is the LeBron Hive. You can't say nothing. You know how them girls get on you? If you say something about the Beehive, get on you. If you say something about Beyonce, they'll shut your Twitter down. He is the president of the LeBron Hive.
Jimmy, will you educate this dude, Jimmy? Please educate this dude.
I want to give a shout out to, of course, with Andrew Jones and the DFW. Also give a shout out to Jamiles Ramsey at Texas Tech with his debut last night. 30 minutes, 19 points for Texas Tech. Also, Drew Timme is at Gonzaga, and he played 26 minutes.
He's gonna be good.
Produced 11 points, 4 rebounds for the Zags. And Admon Gilder is in the starting lineup for Gonzaga as well. So I want to give a shout out to those guys. The DFW guys definitely stood up last night in their debuts on the Division I level. Also, you were speaking of the G League a while ago. Give another shout to former Manville High School star Leon Gilmore, who he went to Creighton and then ended up at SFA. Well, Leon has he's made the team in the G League for the Wisconsin Herd.
Who made the team?
Leon Gilmore.
Oh yeah. Started at Creighton, right?
You know, he was at Creighton SFA. Only did 1 year at Creighton, I think, right? Then ended up at SFA. And but understand expectations.
Jimmy, you know what we got to do, Jimmy? We got to get a couple of these guys on the Chop Shop. And we got the Leon Gilmores, and we got to get a couple of those guys that were high-ranked guys, not to embarrass them, so they can explain to people that wasn't the plan. And they'll have 9 million reasons why it didn't happen, but there were also 9 million reasons why it did happen for Justice Winslow, right? There was 9 million reasons it did happen for Kelly Oubre. So when we let the guys get up, when we talk about the kids when it don't work, when the things don't work out, it's almost like discrediting the kids that do work out. The bottom line is it's hard, and most of them aren't going to get there, period. Anyway, go on.
And of course, Herb Baker's on the feed, and he says that Cameron Reynolds, former Pearland High School star Cam Reynolds.
Oh, he was nice.
On that team, the Wisconsin Herd. So that means I'll be paying attention to that team. And in the upcoming days, probably next week, I'll get enough time to go and surf through the G League rosters, because my thing is to bring awareness. Like you're saying, a lot of people don't realize how hard it is. A lot of people that used to be yesterday's stars, you know, are nominal, just basic regular role guys in the G League, not even to mention overseas. So this stuff is, and we're feeding, and that's.
And Jimmy, always remember when they send those guys, those two-way guys back down, and if they was in you was in their slot, you go deeper on the bench. So
yeah, just like in baseball, when they go down, when those guys go down to the minor league, you was a starting shortstop, and Carlos Carrera is doing this rehab stint there for a few games. Your ass on the bench,
no doubt.
You know what? Oh, they gonna move some stuff around. Somebody is going and getting demoted for those couple of days. This is the thing. So expectations.
Yeah,
that's the thing. As you guys mentioned, you mentioned Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook went to a Power 5, and expectations were there, but he was behind a pro. Guys like Kelly Oubre, he set the bench half the season at Kansas, and he's starting right now.
He was behind a potential pro.
He's behind
hold up, but
Perry Ellis. They had Perry Ellis butt starting in front of him.
But Russell Westbrook, he was there during the time in UCLA with the 3 straight Final Fours.
Yeah.
That was a different time back then. That lets you know It was some dudes there back then.
He
Still
didn't stay
playing
that
in the
long,
NBA.
though, Chris.
No, he didn't stay that long, but I'm just saying, like, it was tough. It was tough when he was there. Hey, Jimmy, speaking of election night, were you Craig Lilly on the feed? Man, did they vote in Cleveland or what? Will you jump on Craig Lilly and tell Craig Lilly what's going on in Cleveland?
I just couldn't believe what I read about in Cleveland, Texas. That was the school district voted on it was something in the Cleveland ISD, something about the school facilities. And this particular vote won last night with only 3 votes cast. It was a $198 million bond that they voted on. So that means everybody that went to vote skipped that question or that option. You skipped over it. That's obviously what happened, because more than 3 people voted in the election in Cleveland, Texas. We're talking about Cleveland, Ohio, Cleveland, Texas. That's about 30 miles northeast of Houston.
Yeah.
Once again, a $198 million bond was on the line. Here's my thing. If 3 people voted on it, some people need to have, the school district needs to have a meeting. Let me tell you why. Because that means if you got the athletic director, the principal,
None of them voted.
I'm telling you, think about it. The guy who proposed the bill, his wife, his son, if he's over.
Nobody voted. Think about that, Hatter.
Only 3 people voted total.
When is my election
on
year?
that bill? So they passed. So you talking about when they looked down the list?
They skipped over it.
But guess what? Maybe they weren't educated on that bill. So you'd rather them vote for something they didn't know about?
No, he's saying they should have been educated on it.
Okay, but I'm
That's
just
what he
saying.
said.
But if they wasn't, I'm asking you.
It's a school district.
But you saying at least employees of the school district should have been aware.
Had a $198 million bond. What the hell?
That's going to affect them.
That's Texas.
What the hell? Unbelievable.
And unbelievable. And one of the things that we once again, B. Scott says every year, we talk about some of these same topics when around election time and the college debuts. And because of here's what I'm thinking: the importance of votes and elections. Understand this. Up in Kansas City, they voted to remove the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. signs from one of their main boulevards. It took decades, because Kansas City was one of the few major cities in the United States of America that did not have a Dr. Martin Luther King Drive. And if you live in one of the cities that do, then you know what side of town every Dr. Martin Luther King Drive is located on.
That's right.
Even in Palm Springs. Keep going.
They got one in Palm Springs?
The ghetto in Palm Springs. Keep going.
So understand this. This street was called the Paseo, Paseo, for years. So like a 10-mile stretch of Kansas City. About a year ago, some of the preachers, the pastors, and some people in the urban community rallied together and successfully got it approved to rename that street Dr. Martin Luther King Drive. So the street signs went up, everybody rejoiced, and in doing so, a lot of the opposition, which for people that a lot of people did not live in that community where the street was renamed and were not of color. They got gathered and realized that there was a technical error on the way that the street was named. So guess what they did? They went and got a petition of about 2,800 signatures. That's all it took to get that measure put on the voting ballot, because the way it was done, it was in error. So they voted on it and it passed 70% to 30% that in favor of removing the street signs and restoring it back to Paseo Drive. My thing about voting, and I tell Chris Walker, we talked about this about 3 years ago when we first started Chop Shop.
Oh, it's gonna happen.
And that is, a lot of people out there don't realize the power that rests in rallying an untapped market of student athletes who happen to be 12th graders in influencing them to go and vote or register to vote. And you guys know last year we had at the season opener 1 year ago, we had a voter registration table there. And lady said she signed up about 50 people somewhat to register to vote, which is normal, which is a good day at the office for those people. Here's my thing. I went and I did the math. There's approximately 150 brick and mortar schools in the greater Houston area. High schools. Just say on every basketball team, there's an average of 5 seniors. 150 times 5, 750. Double that for the girls basketball team, right? That's 1,500. Then I go over to volleyball, right? And same thing for volleyball, about 5 seniors. Then I go over to softball, girls softball, but I say about 10 seniors on the average. That comes out 10 times 150, that's 1,500, right? Then I go over to football. About 30 seniors on every varsity football team on the average, right? 30 times 150 schools, that's 4,500 student athletes that are possible voting block. Go over to track and field. 150 high schools around Greater Houston times about 5 seniors on the track and field team. I'm a lowballing the numbers. 5 seniors, 150 times 5, 750, right? Times the girls track, double it down, that's 1,500. That's about 10,500 total student athletes.
I'd be mayor of the city. I'd be close.
Guys, I'm not even talking about the coaches. I'm not even talking about their parents and their families.
How many? What was your number? What was your number?
Total? The total block of student athletes is 10,500 student 12th graders. Okay. 12th graders.
Hey, Chris, that ain't gonna take it. It's 250,000 people.
I know. I'm just playing.
I'm
teasing.
No. Here's what it does, though, Hatter. We're talking about the student athletes.
I know.
If the quarterback, the running back, and the wide receiver let's say North Shore High School. If Shadrach, Evans, and the quarterback, if they all start walking around with both with Chris Walker shirts on, and Chris Walker and his cool, or just say Scarface, who ran for office and had an unsuccessful bid for a city council office on yesterday in Greater
Houston. And Willie D, who's dropped out of the
Willie D dropped out, so he never came to the plate. He dropped out about 3 weeks ago. But Scarface went to the plate all the way through the motion. He came, I think, in like 3rd place or something like that. But Scarface, I'm not know exactly what his campaign was angled at, but I do know one thing: he did not go and galvanize these students, athletes.
The same students that bought his records.
Their mamas and grandmamas. But you know what? It's one thing, Jimmy, because a lot of people don't understand, and I want to hammer this in, you know, and maybe I'll say it this way. If voting doesn't matter, because, you know, you got all these people talking about voting, you know, I don't want to vote. Vote don't matter. Jimmy, check this out, Chris. If voting doesn't matter, why do they work so hard for you not to do it?
Absolutely.
Think about all the people who died for my right to claim my freedom and my vote. Chris, that's another one.
It's ignorance, man. Hatter, what's your quote you gave me the other day? By ignorance and knowledge. Please give it to him. Put it on the screen.
Okay, I'm gonna put it on the screen.
But go on, finish what you're saying.
Go. I mean, that's all I had to say. If you listen to nothing else I say, always remember, if it didn't matter, why are they gerrymandering these districts and moving districts over and moving so this guy can't vote here, this guy can't? Why are they making it harder for you to vote? Why it's Supreme Court? It's some stuff in the Supreme Court that's challenging these districts being why are they going through all this time and money if it didn't matter?
Hey, I got one better for you.
Okay.
Why do we have a national holiday on Christopher Columbus Day and not the day we're supposed to vote? Isn't voting supposed to be made easier for us, Jimmy? Like, why do we have, I don't want people to get mad at me, all you black religious folk, about having Good Friday off. You better off having Election Tuesday off than having Good Friday off. I love the law, but I'm telling you right now, he ain't fixing them potholes.
Could we take another day? Hold on. Can we take another day?
Okay, my bad.
Don't mess.
We got black folks on the show. I don't want nobody to get mad. But can we get a couple churches to advertise and give us some of that money, and I'll take that comment back. But what I'm saying is, the bottom line is, Jimmy, why? Think about it. As Hatter says, you have the third or fourth largest city in America, and only a couple 100,000 people voted, right? Right, Hatter, for mayor? Yeah. People don't vote, man. They don't vote. We don't, and my animus towards our own people, we get upset. Sure, there are obstacles that we face, right? But if you let your obstacles control you, and that's all you talk about, I'm sorry. If all you talk about is your obstacles will control you. And we got too many complainers now out there, and not enough competitors, guys who want to compete, guys who are aimed for the competition. And something as simple as voting, when somebody says that ignorant crap that Hatter just say, voting doesn't matter, I'm telling you right now, they don't understand how the world works. And they'll be the first ones sitting around complaining. And that's the shame with our people. But that's what's going on, Hatter. We got kids that are getting free, I don't like to use the word free, cost-free educations at universities, and all they thinking about is beating a basketball down. All they think about is running a touchdown. And they're getting interested to educate to schools that they can never afford to pay for.
Wow.
And it can change their generation by going to school and making sure their kids go to school, and on and on and on. If you listen to that Byron Allen thing, the first thing he says is kids need to go to school. And what is the NBA and all these guys trying to do? Man, you don't need to go to school. Go to the G League for a year. Hatter, they're running a business. They don't care about you going to school.
That's right.
They're running a business. As many clowns want to not go to college and take their butt to the G League and and tear their knee up with no insurance, and their life is over, and they sitting there serving me a steak at the Capitol Grill. I get it. It don't make sense, man. I'm tired. Let's stop blaming the other cultures, man. Hatter talked to me this morning about Jewish people. We have wealth in our community.
Yeah.
But we got guys making it rain. Hey, Hatter, you ever seen a Jewish guy? You ever seen them, Jimmy, Instagram a Jewish guy making it rain at the strip club?
Zero.
Have you ever seen it? I mean, seriously, I'm sure they do it, but have you ever seen it?
I've never seen
it.
They swipe, my bad. So they just swipe it. But what my point is that sometimes we need to point the finger at us and stop to pointing the finger at everybody else. That might be unpopular to some people on this feed, but I'm telling you right now, complaining won't get you anywhere. Now, if you protest, if you come together and you do it from within with our own children and our own, as Hatter says, our own resources. Right, Jimmy? As Jimmy said, all these kids in Houston, we got 10,000 X number of kids. Think about it.
Come on, Chris. We went through this before, and I'm glad. Welcome Tyrone Irvin to the party, man. And I'm glad he brought it up. And I went and I shared it with you guys on the Chop Shop feed about the updated results. Remember, they have results, and a lot of things when you're reading the results from elections, always look up at the top and it tell you the percentage of the precincts that's reporting. Mm-hmm. So every number that you see isn't the finished number. So when you went to bed last night, a lot of stuff obviously wasn't counted because Scarface had about 1,900 votes when I went to sleep. Now the final tally has been in. Guess how many votes Scarface, the former rapper from the Ghetto Boys, Brad Jordan, Scarface, he was running for city council in Houston. And remember, at one point during his campaign, he was saying, call his name, he was going by the title Brad Jordan. He didn't want to be called Scarface because that's part of his past.
Probably would have won.
Yeah.
Probably would have won.
And I think Scarface would have won the election. You know, I mean, understand this. He lost, his total vote count was 3,342. 3,342 is District D, which is over in the 3rd Ward area, that part, the southeast part of Houston.
Unbelievable.
It's District D. Let me explain something to you. The person who won the city council seat, she had Carol Evans Shabazz, 3,800.
I would have won that. I would have won that. I was coming back. I would have won that.
3,892. He lost by 500 votes.
And guess
so
what?
I just printed.
Unbelievable.
And she live in that district, Jimmy. She, you know, that's African. It's a black woman now.
Yeah, I mean,
we're not hating on her. We're just talking about how system
But
works.
she lives in that district, and she was going around knocking on doors. I don't know how many doors he knocked on.
Well, that's what
He could win. He could have bought 3,000 votes. He could, on election day, he could have bought 3,000 turkeys. Thanksgiving is around the corner. He got the money. They would have voted for him, Hatter. He could have done like, hey man, I got truckloads of buses, Jimmy, that's taking y'all to the and if you go, I got a turkey and I got X, Y, and Z. He could have got 3,000 votes or 501 votes.
That's what I'm saying.
Come on, man.
This is what I'm saying.
Hey,
in
y'all,
this
we
district,
can change some things, right?
Dude, that's what now you bingo. People not realizing all it takes to win I ain't talking about the mayor. I'm not talking about the governor.
Right.
I'm talking about a seat in the room.
Yeah.
Next to the mayor, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Next to the
right
mayor.
next to him.
The seat in the room. You can get 3,800 votes. Now you break that stuff down. And I said this is what I said a while ago. If Scarface would have went and did a voter rally at Yates, Houston Sterling, where he went to, Worthing High School.
Got all those kids to vote. He won.
I'm not talking about athletes.
But Jimmy,
senior period.
Jimmy, but think about it. Election day, they have school on election day. How can the kids vote? They have to do early vote. Like I said, they can do early voting. They can do a whole lot of creative things. How we're gonna do that let's not give out all our secrets now. Let's not get off all our.
You notice I'm not saying nothing.
Let's not give out secrets. But Jimly, you know what Peter Schweltham told me a long time ago when I was talking about making that city council run.
ISD board seat and did not
Right. Right. He didn't know. But you know what? He gave me some great advice, and that's why I'm sitting back in the cut. Y'all see, y'all already looking at my election team on the chop shop right there, right? We're going to run the city real soon. It ain't time yet. But guess what they told me? Peter Schweltham gave me the best advice from He said, Chris, it don't matter how much money they got. It don't matter how much fame they got. The only thing that matters is on election Tuesday that he can get people to vote for him. That's the only thing that matters. It don't matter how much they love you, how much they hate you. The only thing that matters is on that Tuesday, Jimmy, that dude got to get out of bed and he got to go push that button for that dude's name. And if that dude don't do that, you win. You ain't got to win because you're the best all the time. Right. Sometimes you got to win because he can get his people to the polls.
Souls to the polls.
Winning.
Souls to the polls.
Souls to the polls. It ain't about being the best candidate all the time. You know what I'm saying? It's the best dude. That's the best hustler. Sometimes the best hustler win. That's politics, man. People don't understand.
And look here, let's not take for granted that lead that Sylvester Turner has. Jimmy, you got to get back and we got to do this again. We got to go back and do this again. It's so important. And Jimmy, one of these days we got to share what you and I and Marcus talked about one day. We're going to find a time to talk about it. But that was a powerful impromptu meeting.
Well,
Marcus Davis. Marcus Davis from the Breakfast Club. I mean, that guy in this realm of getting things done in this city and knowing these people, and he said, look here, man, ain't no candidate perfect.
Hey, trust me, my grandmother on Marcus Davis, but he come down South Hall. She chase him with the pot. That's for sure.
Hey, especially this, even the guy.
He went to Cashmere.
Hey,
I know she chased him with the pot. Trust me.
Hey, the guy in the middle of the screen, Chris Walker, he gonna run. He is a flawed man. Let me tell y'all, he's flawed.
Very, very little flawed, but yes, flawed.
But guess what? I know for a fact his interest gonna lie in the mind.
That's right.
There's no permanent friends. There's no permanent. His interest, he gonna look out. Let me tell you something. If I'm in his sphere of influence, can y'all imagine how I'm gonna hold him accountable? You just got to know. Robert Hatter is going. If Robert Hatter can tell a millionaire with $86 million in the bank, I don't care what you say, you got to go get your degree. And risk your friendship with that guy. Imagine what I'm going to tell Chris if I'm his campaign, if I'm anything in his, if I'm his, hold up, if I'm his, what you call it, consigliere.
No doubt. I'm going to win. Jimmy, that's what I'm saying. Don't give all the tricks away.
I'm not.
The bottom line is
I'm not.
People just don't understand. I'm not saying it's easy to win elections. It's hard. You know, it's a whole lot that goes into it. You know, it's personal service. But you all know it's going to be a chop shop takeover very soon. Tell them to keep the seat warm.
Yes, sir.
And tell Sylvester to keep the seat warm. It's gonna be a chop shop takeover sooner or later, and we our neighborhoods, we're gonna make sure these kids go to college. We're gonna make sure we get better school in HISD, and that's all gonna come because people there that they're doing things that are not just favors for people that don't get it. And I'm not saying these people that are being elected aren't great people, but guys, we understand politics. The bottom line is, if we want Houston to be the baddest city on the planet, it's got to be for the kids. It's got to be the greatest. We got to have the most money for education. I don't even want to get in the middle of all that. But the bottom line is, Jimmy, hopefully, shout out to Sylvester, and hopefully he wins. But the bottom line is, guys, we have to start understanding and educating people on the importance of voting, especially with that fool that we got, you know where. And I'm going to leave it at that.
Yeah, your cousin. Hey,
unbelievable.
Hey, Stephen Wood. Okay, go on, Jim. Go on, Jim.
Go to the Boomer Room and share a lot of the comments because we have questions and somebody asking why are these ideas coming up after the vote? Did anyone suggest that Yates or Wheatley Scarface rally when he was running? So I've already replied, and my reply was
hit him, Jim. Hit him.
My reply was yes. We have recommended this several times.
4 years.
We have for several years. And what happened is people. I remember I've offered my platform just at the Super 16 for free for anybody that wanted to come and do a voter registration rally. I have the season opener coming up November the 16th at the Campbell Center. I have real estate for free for anybody that want to get some of our kids signed up and registered to vote for the upcoming year. It won't work for them now, but in 2020, if they're 17 years old right now, and then they can register to vote in 2020 election, or if they're 18 or older. That means it ain't just kids. You're getting parents. You'd be surprised how many parents that aren't registered to vote that are walking through the gyms and in these stadiums.
And complaining though, Jimmy, and complaining about everything.
I want to talk personally to that person. Who said that? Because I want to talk.
Michael Jordan.
Michael. Michael, Michael probably haven't been talking on the be a supporter of the Chop Shop that long, but I remember when that's all we've been talking about consistently, and guess what? It's not our fault that people don't listen to the Chop Shop. Jimmy already done told you now. You got to put this log. I got the 5 for you, but you got to put a log on here every now and then. Michael, I mean, we've been talking about it. But see, guess what? We got a guy that we are going to push and back. And guess what? We gonna need some more young people because Chris getting a little up in age. I want to start backing some millennials because when I'm gone, The message, you remember I gave this soliloquy the other day. The message that we put in those young kids, Jimmy, that's why we got even the at-risk kids and the risk kids. These guys, no matter what, they're going to be our future. They're going to be here when we gone. So the message we put in these kids is going to affect our kids, our grandkids. The future, so that's why it's so important. But Michael, I'm talking to you now. Hey, you late for that bus. That bus there, that bus has already been on sale.
Realize, and Michael Jordan, you asked some good questions. Really, I can see the questions are sincere, and he's not being sarcastic or facetious.
Yeah, I know
he said, I was speaking about why wasn't Scarface personally invited to this platform? Well, Scarface, ourselves and Scarface were labor mates on the previous radio station at 2.5 FM, and he was really, Scarface had actually had a morning show that he was about to engage in, and it was nipped at the very last minute, like the weekend before he was set to go on the air with the a morning radio show. He decided to shift gears and decided he would go. That's when he made the decision to go and run for office. You have to realize, man, Scarface has changed. He don't eat meat. Yeah. He don't. He's his ideology is a lot different than if you know him from back in the Ghetto Boys days. But we didn't, out of sight, out of mind.
But Jimmy,
and my thing is, a lot of time when people run for office, they go and they spend. See, here's the thing: if you hear politicians on the radio or running commercials while they're campaigning, they spend money from their coffers for that advertising. That's how that goes. Yeah. So nobody in their right mind, it just don't work like that. When you're running for office, to me to come in and offer Scarface the real estate to come and occupy and have the access to the thousands upon thousands of people that are watching the Chop Shop for nothing. It don't work like that. Not when you're advertising with 7:40 a.m. and with all or whatever station that you have. It don't work like that.
Not today. But Jimmy, you know what's so unique? And I'm glad they brought that up. You and I was invited to a round table with Sylvester Turner. You couldn't make it.
I was out of town.
You was out of town, and I went. And I don't usually speak at these events, but I got up and talked to Sylvester Turner personally at the end of the table and told him, what could we do to help? Nobody never reached out to us. Now, hey, let me tell you something. I'm not going to go beg nobody for them to be no mayor. But his people, his sphere of influence, they had all of our contacts. They knew everything about the Chop Shop, and not one reached out to us. Closed mouth will never get fed. I sit up and said,
how about this, Adam? Could have got him over the top. Maybe he's not at 49% no more.
Wow.
How about that?
And listen, y'all, this ain't nothing. I heard Robert Hatter put on his suit, went down to it was a little intimate round table. There's no way I would have left out of that building, get with all that information about me and Jimmy and Chris, and nobody ever contacts us. Man, come on, man. Come on. Come on, man.
Not when you're trying to win the election.
Yes.
Well,
come on, man.
And understand now, that's the thing, like Mike Jones said, more influential people. Just realize, people that's running for office, you have to realize, most people that go and run for an office, that means somebody that's an OG in that sector is going to school them or give them insight. Well, guess what? There's no blueprint on how to go and tap into the young 17, 18-year-olds. Because you know why? They aren't counted yet. You see? They aren't counted yet. So you can't count and say what they won't do because they hadn't even registered to vote yet. So you don't know if they will vote or they won't vote. Remember now, when President Barack Obama ran for office, he tapped into two different mechanisms that was untapped, that was unmeasurable. One was the Twitter. the social media. It was no way for them to have measured social media before 2008. You wasn't gonna measure Black Planet. You wasn't measuring MySpace. Yeah. So this new stuff, Twitter and Facebook and all this stuff, that was in 2008. Well, actually 2007 when the election took place, right?
You had some young people. You had David
So
and
yeah.
that young white guy. They tapped into that market. You know what?
And then guess what he did?
Uh-huh.
He went and got the Rappers United. And they remember P. Diddy and all the rappers rock the vote.
Vote or die. No.
Vote or die.
Vote or die.
That made it cool. So they found a way to make it cool. Those shirts, it sounds corny as hell, but those shirts were kind of cool.
I had one.
It was fly. You see what they did? So it was no way to measure. That's what I'm saying. So now you can do the same thing.
Hey man, listen, man, stop giving them all the thing.
Keep all
the info to ourselves, man.
I understand, but
we're trying to win.
But Stacey Houston asked a good question, and he said, why do you think they don't value the support you're trying to give? Because some of these people think they got it, Stacey. Some of these old politicians, Sylvester been a politician for a long time. Some of these people think they got it all. They know it all. I'm just telling the truth. Some of them think they got, but I didn't see no young people in that room. I saw all the old guard in that room. And it was a young lady sitting next to me, a young lady, and I guess they thought I was ghetto because she echoed what I was saying. She said, y'all never reached out to us. And they looked at her like she was crazy because it was young people. And that's what, so Stacey, and maybe sometimes you be doing stuff so long, like your boy Moscow Mitch McConnell. Do you know that dude been elected ever since 86? Rex Chapman was on Karen Hunter yesterday talking about he didn't like him in 86 because Rex Chapman is from Owensboro, Kentucky. He said, Karen, when I get off the air, I sure love to hear it. Karen, when I get off the air, I'm going to tell you some stuff about Mitch McConnell and why I will never support him. But he went to talk about, but he said his aide, the guy who was with him, had something on his briefcase. Rex Chapman said, I'll never forget what he had on it. He wouldn't tell us, but it was something, an insignia, might be a swastika, might be something else. Whatever he had on his briefcase, Jimmy, Rex Chapman was scarred from. He said he never supported Mitch for the rest of his life. He said, y'all don't understand those kind of people. So Moscow Mitch, Mitch McConnell, the guy who's supporting Trump, if Trump was to come, like Trump said, I can shoot somebody in the middle of Broadway and my people will still support me. These the kind of guys that we got in public office, and we re-elect them every year. But guess what happened? It's a change of guard.
That's right.
A new governor. They beat out the Republican governor. That's the first time it ever happened in a long time. Put a dent in 45's armor. I don't mean to go on so long, but when you talk about politics, you know what I do.
And also Virginia.
That's right.
Virginia has flipped over. Mm-hmm. And understand, Virginia, the home of the Charlottesville rally 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Understand this?
Yeah.
Or 3 plus years ago. Virginia has a Democratic governor. Now, Democratic House, the whole legislature in Virginia, those are two key states that they were relying on.
And you know what? And Stacey, I'm gonna entertain you one more time. He said, can what we guys saying right now be viewed as negative toward the politicians you're talking about? Hell no. Hell no, it's not negative. Always remember in politics, Stacey, there's no permanent friends, there's no permanent enemies, it's only permanent interest. What I'm saying right now, I will say to Sylvester Turner. I went to his meeting, and I gave them my numbers, and I gave him the chop shop, and he know about it, and they didn't reach out to it. How in the hell is that negative? That's the truth. Jimmy, go. Child, please. Hey, child, please.
Hey, can we talk about LeBron, man?
Yeah, let's talk about you. Let's go. The Beehive, the Brun Hive.
Well,
Can we talk about the Beehive, man?
Well, of course, and of course, LeBron James, another triple-double. Lakers won, 5 straight. They're rocking right now. You got to say that. LeBron is the first person with 3 consecutive triple-doubles since Magic Johnson back in the days. I didn't realize that, but we look at LeBron. That's one of the things with a lot of people that may be anti-LeBron, because you look at him and you see the way he plays, and if he wanted to, LeBron has never averaged a triple-double. LeBron could average a triple-double.
You better not. Don't you say a word, Hatter.
Jimmy.
Just let it go, Hatter. Don't say it.
Jimmy, please let me interject. Jimmy, it's a young man have averaged a triple-double for the last 3 years. It's a young man that's playing down there on Polk and Lamar. But don't nobody respect. So when he does it, it's an overrated stat. When he does it, he just trying to get extra rebound. When he does it, but
when he won the MVP doing it, what you talking about? He won the MVP.
I am talking about Chris Walker. This last year, he did it again, and he wasn't even in the MVP race.
Because they were terrible.
So, I'm talking about the stat. I'm not talking about get your personalities. Let's forget the personality. Let's forget you's a Brun stan, a Brun sexual, and the chief member of the Brun Hive. What I would like for you to look at, why when he give a triple-double for 3 straight games.
He's 35, Hatter.
I don't care how old he is.
He's 35, and everybody said he was done. He's 35. All you haters out there, he played 55 games last year. He still averaged 27, 8, and 8. And you were all killing him because the Lakers didn't make the playoffs, and they could have made the playoffs. Because they thought they were going to hire Tyronn Lue, and they told him to shut it down for the rest of the year. And he comes back, he loses 1 game against Kawhi Load Management Leonard. 1 game. And they ran off 6 straight, and he did 3 straight triple-doubles. He's going to be the MVP this year. Mark it down. LeBron is the best player to ever play the game. Period. I'm sorry. Now you may go. And like they said, no. Now they say like Eddie Murphy said in Coming America. Now you may speak.
Now
I'm done.
Speaking of, okay, now also NBA news, guys. Kawhi Leonard, the highly anticipated matchup between the Milwaukee Bucks and the Los Angeles Clippers will take place tonight. And it has been noted this morning that Kawhi Leonard will miss tonight's game as a result of load management. Now, here's the thing. I want to ask you guys before getting your thoughts, I want to chime in and supply you with some facts to help your thoughts. That is load management. They're playing, this is Wednesday, November the 6th, mind you. The Clippers hadn't played since Sunday, November the 3rd, right? They will play again on Thursday against Portland. They're going to play Portland like 6 times this season. You're only going to play Milwaukee twice. You play them once at home, once away, right? Tonight's game is a 9 p.m. game. So that means that's damn near 3.5 days of rest. 3.5 days of rest. Kawhi Leonard played 34 minutes on Sunday. He played 34 minutes. The game before that, he played against San Antonio. He played 34 minutes that night. So here's the load management thing. They warned us this was going to happen. They said that he would miss roughly 30, 40 games, 30-ish games.
No, 20. I said 20. 20 games because he had
20,
6. Yeah,
20.
Yeah, 20.
He would miss about 20 games, and ditto for Paul George. So that means collectively they will combine to miss about 30, 40 games. Do you think that this is acceptable? Alan?
I'm gonna let Chris go.
You know how I feel about it.
The
It's
Greek freak. You don't want none of the Greek freak. You're going to say, the hell with the Greek freak.
Absolutely ridiculous.
Dame Lillard.
But what I would like to say, it is a game at home. So I understand it because you won't be depriving the people who are, the people who might not ever see him again. So I mean, I don't like it. And I tried to put in a call to them. Ain't nothing I can do about it, though. I mean, I control the controllables.
Somebody on the feed saying, "Oh, LeBron started this 2 years ago in Cleveland." Let me tell y'all something about LeBron. LeBron went to 8 straight finals. Do y'all hear what I just said? And the Olympics. This dude has played in more games than probably half the players combined. Leave LeBron alone, man. Pick somebody else. Pick James Harden. Pick the Rockets. Y'all, can I talk about the Rockets? Or do I need to leave that alone? Do I need to leave the Rockets alone? Oh, my God. I got some words for the Rockets, man. I'm sorry.
You always got some words for the Rockets.
I actually kind of like the Rockets. I kind of like my boys are working for them. I'm warming up. But I'm sorry, guys. I don't know. Did we argue about this? Did we argue about this today, Hatter? No, it wasn't me and you. It was somebody else. Yeah. I can't say who it was.
Yeah.
They will never win. They will never win. You cannot win without defense. Let me tell you what the Rockets are the equivalent of. The Rockets are the equivalent of saying we're going to get the best quarterback, the best running back, the best wide receiver, the best left tackle, right? We don't care about defense. We're not going to get a big-time cornerback. We're not going to get a big-time linebacker, a big-time edge rusher. We don't care about defense. We just going to outscore people. Does that work in football, Jimmy? Or is that work in football? Is that what the Patriots do?
Chris.
Is that what the Seattle Seahawks did?
Chris.
It doesn't work that way in sports, man.
It does work that way in sports because guess what?
What sport?
Because in the last 18 years, Chris, ain't but 9 championships have been won by one team in football. So since you want to parallel that, it's always the Patriots.
And they play defense.
No. I'm just trying to explain to you. So the rest of the team, it's okay. James Harden might not never win a championship.
No, ain't no might not. They're not winning. It ain't no might not.
It's okay. But at least he's not running from team to team and trying to.
Oh my goodness! The dude, let me tell you something. Ain't smelled the final. Ain't smelled the final.
I just let you go. D-Wade, could you come down here? Could you come down to Cleveland and play with me? Hell no, I ain't coming to Cleveland. Quick Boss, would you come? Hell no. Man, we going to Miami. Okay. Let's go. We're going to win not 1, not 2, not 3. Hold on.
And you know why he didn't win?
Can I finish?
Bosh and Wade was terrible.
Can I finish?
Because Bosh and Wade was terrible. That's why.
Hey, Jimmy, not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5. Terrible. So then, hold up. Pat Riley said, hey, look here, man. Rich Paul and all these clowns, they can't be walking through this American Airlines Center like they did up there. You can't do that.
What they did since number 6 left. And what have they done since number 6 left?
Hey, Jimmy, look what he do. Well, I'm going back to Cleveland. I'm going. So he goes to Cleveland.
And went to 4 straight.
Hold up. He go back to Cleveland. Okay, now this is the dude you talking about. I got to get some more people. I got. Dude.
It's a different era,
James Harden.
We got driverless cars now, right? We got apps that you can order your food and you don't have to leave your house. Basketball has changed. Are you chopping up Kawhi Leonard because he said if y'all get Paul George to come? Are you chopping up Russell Westbrook because he says, well, I'm going to go play with James Harden?
Let me show you why. Let me interrupt you. Since you interrupt me, I'm about to interrupt you.
Go ahead.
Kawhi Leonard got traded to Toronto because of this clown down there or sent him out of there. Hey, Jimmy, did he get traded? He got traded. Hold up. They told him, look here, you might not want to be here. You're not going to be in America. We're going to send you to Canada. And they sent him to Canada, and he load managed his way to what?
Because LeBron left and went to the Lakers.
Another ring. And guess what he did? He told all of them, look here, man. Hey, I know I can't play. I ain't going to play for 60 games. So you're going to have somebody to help us so we can be in the playoff because I can't play. I don't know what's wrong with him, and we need to be finding out. It might be something wrong with the guy. You know, before you haters always want to hate on somebody for load management. I think something is wrong with him.
And there's something wrong with his brain. He's still wearing cornrows. That's what's wrong with him.
Alan,
okay.
Alan, he's playing 34 minutes each of the last 2 games, man. There's something wrong.
And guess what
else he did?
What?
Guess what else he did? In those 2 games against Utah Jazz and the San Antonio Spurs, he played 34 minutes. That's 68 combined minutes. Guess how many shots he took in those 2 games combined?
Jimmy, we don't know what's going on in his body, though.
He took 60 damn shots.
You the same guy. You the same guy who tell a kid, man, you just broke your ankle, man. You ought to be able to play in the icebreaker next week. Dude, that shit don't happen like Jimmy. I'm telling you.
That's messed up, Hatter. That's not the same. That dude just taking game.
But no, okay, Jimmy don't like injuries. Jimmy don't care nothing about nobody being injured.
No, but if you playing 30 minutes, he played 34 minutes. He didn't have to play 34 minutes. He could have load management. I mean, why not go and play 26?
Jimmy, getting ready for a game and playing high level like he do, that nobody's playing that way on both ends. It's a crying shame, Jimmy.
That dude across the street?
Hey, Jimmy.
That dude in 3-0 ain't doing that?
Jimmy, it's a crying shame. Ooh, this dude killing me. Hey, it's a crying shame when you got to call people two-way players now. When I grew up, I don't want this guy to score on me, and I want to hit 30 on. Where do we get? We got to celebrate being a two-way player. I think you're supposed to be. LeBron is, I know it's not like
hell, he's 35.
Jimmy, and I see it. Jimmy, that Grecian formula, whatever that stuff is, I don't know. He got the kind that wash out. Because he done took his headband up. By next week, he gonna say, forget it.
Somebody made a great point. The Toronto Raptors had the best record in the NBA before Kawhi Leonard got there.
And fired the coach.
I'm just saying, had the best record. So it's not like he did to LeBron and went to a bunch of knuckleheads and took him to a championship.
He got traded there.
He went to a team that had the best record.
To your person on the Facebook feed who is clueless just like you, and y'all got to realize, if I was to agree with you two people, then all of us would be wrong. One of us got to be right. So I can't agree with y'all. So back to this. He got traded there. He didn't tell that man. He didn't want to go to no damn Canada. Whoever helped you with, tell me who helped you with it so I can get right on him. I don't want to just get on you. But Jimmy, come on, man. Bring some sense to this thing.
Hell, man, if you talk to Yuri, if you talk to the GM of the Toronto Raptors, he would have a completely different stance on that, Hatter. Come on, man. You're right. He got traded there, but come on, Hatter. You know what time it is.
He's from Nigeria. He's supposed to have a different.
I understand that, but don't give him credit like he built the team. Like LeBron, when the Cleveland Cavaliers, before LeBron got there, Kyrie lovers, last place, lottery. LeBron gets there, finals. I understand that.
I'm not saying LeBron not good. Not one time.
I'm going to say it again. He gets there, last place. Gets there, finals. 4 finals from last place to lottery to 4 finals. Don't compare those two guys. Please stop that nonsense.
Can I give me just 2? Can I get 30 seconds without a...
Go ahead, I'm going to leave you alone.
Can I get 30 seconds? Hey, Jim, LeBron, I love LeBron. Now, y'all know this. But he remind me of the guy, Jimmy. Come to the gym. Jim, we come to the gym, right? He sit on the sideline and wait on all the good dudes to get there. Y'all know them kind of niggas. Y'all know they got some of them. Jimmy, he'll sit on the sideline and be like he warming up. I play. I'm with you. He go out and get some water, go out and lift a couple of weights, come back in. When he see all them dudes, mine up next. He see all them dudes walking at Jimmy. That's what LeBron, he wants to play with all the dudes. And guess what? That's smart of him. You know why? because he wants assists, and he got to be able to pass to somebody that can make a shot. I understand that.
You can't win by yourself. Jordan, remember Steve Kerr? Remember Paxson? Remember Pippen? Remember Rodman? Remember Kukoc? Do I need to keep going? Jordan did not win that crap by himself. Y'all Jordan lovers, please stop it. Remember Horace Grant? Stop it. Stop the nonsense. Jordan did not play. I know y'all love the shoes. I know y'all love them skinny jeans with your Jordans and all that stuff.
Hey.
He didn't play by himself.
Curlers in your hair. Shame on you. You remember that commercial?
Man, of course, man, don't forget tonight. Of course, NBA action night. The Rockets are in town at home against the fragmented Golden State Warriors. And this game right here is an early 6:30 tip. Houston Rockets, I give a shout out to their marketing team for attempting to do something to supplement. Well, let's put it like this. The seats will be empty tonight.
Why?
But they've already sold the tickets. So the money is already made, but it won't be made at the concession stand. So that's a great part of the stadiums when you go, because they rely on people to buy. It's like a cell phone company. You're going to get the cell phone. You're going to get the airtime, but they make their money off accessories. Well, in the stadiums, a great portion of their revenues is generated by you buying beer and popcorn and whatnot.
No, but
so
Jimmy, I don't think it's going to be empty. No.
When I say empty, I mean it. What's your over and under for the crowd, for the actual?
Okay, it's 18,000.
Oh,
What?
Ain't they playing the game across the street from the Toyota Center at the pickup court? Because they don't play no but pickup basketball. Ain't they playing across the street?
No, man.
I thought it was across the street at the pickup. I didn't know it was at the Toyota Center. I thought it was across the street from the Toyota Center.
Keep talking.
They don't play no defense. They don't play no but pickup basketball.
Keep talking. Now you know how I feel.
Guess what, Chris? You have the New York Knicks and the New Jersey, the Brooklyn Nets. Neither one of them have a better record than the Houston Rockets right now. And the Rockets are off.
The Nets beat the Rockets. The Nets beat the Rockets, by the way. I just want to let you know that. The Nets beat the Rockets last week.
Hey, you can get.
Yeah,
Jimmy, you can get a ticket for as low as $14 to get in.
Well, I'm gonna go by there tonight. I'm gonna put feet on the wood.
Damn, my bad. Oh, you got wood seats?
You have
Tiger Woods.
Jimmy Wood tonight. I'll be right there. You guys will see it. You watch on TV. I'll make sure I don't know what I'm gonna wear tonight. Give you guys a shout out, but I noticed something about the Rockets.
18,055 can get in the building. It's gonna be 17,000. It's gonna be 17,000 people there tonight.
No.
Yeah.
No. No.
Okay. You tell me when you get there. You tell me.
I'm gonna take I'm gonna take the picture, because remember now, the attendance that we all get on the official from the publicists, and that's not the bodies, butts, and seats. They'll count the tickets sold.
Yeah, they got plenty of people. They got Russell Westbrook and James Harden. They coming to that game.
Hold up, Jimmy. If I didn't have nothing to do tonight, I'll come out there and be on the wood with you tonight. But I got things to do. I like to watch it on TV anyway. But Jimmy, let me explain something to you. Don't come back with no pictures after halftime, because all them people in that lounge. Don't give me
you take it in the second quarter.
Okay.
In the second quarter is when you take the picture. You know why? Tonight game is an early start. This is a very rare start for the Houston Rockets.
6 o'clock start.
6:30 p.m. start. So what the marketing department is doing for the Houston Rockets, they're doing what they call a happy hour. So at 5 o'clock, you come there and get $2 hot dogs and $5 beers.
I don't want that. None of that.
No. That's to help supplement the lack of beers and that they're not gonna sell from those 7,000-8,000 that won't be there.
Jimmy, they did that at the playoff game, Jimmy, last year.
They did?
Yeah, early.
Okay.
Like you get there early.
Early.
Yeah.
They're calling it a happy hour.
Okay.
Because it's happy hour. They said so. That's just eating. But the Rockets. Do you realize that the Rockets have beaten the Golden State Warriors 5 out of the past 7 times they played them in the regular season? However, Golden State Warriors have won 8 of the last 10 in Houston. It's almost as if the Golden State Warriors have home court advantage in H-Town.
Hey, y'all. Hey, I advise everybody, man, go get y'all one. If y'all don't mind sitting up way up there, Go get you some of them
Nobody
$400 tickets. I ain't talking about you. Man, it's some 14s, some 17s, some 19s. Man, go support the Rockets, man, tonight.
Man, support them for what, man? You ain't got to do that in LA. They got 2 teams. Come on, man. You got Russell Westbrook. You got 2 MVPs. And we up here pining for these dudes to sell tickets. Man, please.
No.
Man.
Hey,
No.
How many teams in the NBA? 32 or is it 30?
30.
30.
How about this? Do you realize this game tonight between the Rockets and the Warriors will present the number 27th and the 28th in terms of defense in the league this year? The 28th is playing the 27th.
And one of them start 3 rookies, by the way.
And guess what? And when you, I hope you got a caveat behind that one, because if you don't, I got one for you.
Well, James Harden gonna get second in the league. James Harden gonna get about second tonight.
They second in the league in pace and third in the league in scoring. And hold up, even with James playing, shooting the worst percentage ever in his career. Think about that. So when you go talking about that, I always come with some. You already know I'm gonna come with the other.
Dude, think about what you just said. If you're one of the worst 3 teams in the league in defense, but you're leading in offense, that's like hitting the brakes and the gas at the same time. That's called power break.
But at least give him something. Say something about him. You just call him some scrub.
No, they're not scrub. They can't play defense, and it's supposed to be a defensive oriented bench. This year's Houston Rocket team. Now Golden State, they got all type of excuses built in.
Hey man,
the Rockets don't.
You got to go to your meeting. How we gonna wrap this show up today?
Yeah, man. Hey, it's so. First, I want to remind you guys.
First walk for 2020.
Forgot to ask you guys. We need you guys to share today's show
Yes.
to your timelines or with your friends. Do that, and you'll be doing the Chop Shop a great favor. Also, we want to remind you guys to just hang on. We got a couple of commercials that we want you to support our advertisers and on the Chop Shop. And if you're doing so,
What's up, basketball fans? Rossi Karen here with U Sports Group. I want to take the time to officially invite everyone out to the Battleground 2K19, December 18th, here at the Toyota Center. The Battleground 2K19 will be one of college basketball's premier events of the season, featuring Big 12 powerhouse Baylor Bears as they take on the UT Martin Skyhawks. The defending Mountain West champions and preseason top 25 ranked Utah State Aggies will go head-to-head with the South Florida Bulls. And the Pac-12's Oregon State Beavers will battle Conference USA favorites, the UTSA Roadrunners. The background for this triple header will be the Athletes Against Abuse initiative. Athletes Against Abuse is a children's rights campaign created to inspire athletes to use their talent, notoriety, and influence to bring awareness to child abuse in our country. The A3 initiative will utilize this basketball platform to blend sport and service. For more information on the Athletes Against Abuse initiative or to purchase your tickets to the Battleground 2K19, visit battleground2k.com. So, join me here at the Toyota Center, December 18th for the Battleground 2K19.
Hey, Chris left and they checking him. K. Cole Gray said, Chris, it sounds good, but you got to work on your objectivity, son. Oh, hey, K. Cole. I don't know how to pronounce it. Help me. Put me a pronunciation sheet in it. Email me and tell me how to pronounce it. But I think that's so great. But guess what I want you to do? I'm going to like it right now. I'm going to like your comment. And I'm going to tell him about it as soon as I get off the phone. Say, Chris, you got to work on your objectivity, son. That's good. Thank you. But Chris, slide us on down.
Guys, it's that time, man. We thank you so much for joining us on Chop Shop, and hope we informed you, enlightened you, and entertained you to some degree. Make sure you, once again, you share today's show with your timelines and your friends. We'll see you guys in 22 hours, but guess what? It's time to yabba dabba do this thing and slide down Dino's back, baby. See you in 22 hours. Chop, chop.
We out.